Hello and welcome to FS Brew. FS Brew is the region's first podcast focusing on all things insurance and insurtech in the UAE and the broader Middle East. I'm Vidya. I'm the founder of Forward, a startup that works with insurance companies to accelerate their go-to-market propositions, digital transformation, and digital marketing initiatives.
And I'm Ranjit Philip. I'm an angel investor and I advise and work with startups. These days, I'm working on setting up the Middle East business of a cyber insurtech company called Box Insurance. And today we are meeting Nicolo Robba, who is the co-founder of LifePal in Indonesia. LifePal is the number one B2C insurance aggregator in Indonesia. And Nicolo is sort of an e-commerce veteran there, ex-Alibaba, and was working in Lazada. And during the 10 years plus he's spent in building e-commerce and other startups in Southeast Asia, various roles in sales, operations and product management before finally starting LifePal. So it was a pretty interesting conversation. I really like the razor sharp focus on unit economics and payback period. I mean, usually people get distracted by just the top line, but the all important payback period is important to focus on for founders. And another interesting point that stuck to my mind was about founders needing to focus on the basics, and funding will follow given this environment that we are entering into.
Absolutely, and it was a brilliant piece of information that he shared with us. I quite enjoyed his whole approach to social media strategy. It was not something that he said we will do it afterwards once we have sort of gained traction. They went ahead with that strategy from day one. They wanted to make sure that the people resonated with their brand, and they knew insurance is not a topic that is easily likable. So they went with that sort of content strategy day one. They also had some really interesting ways of making sure that they listened to customers. They brought those nuggets of information back into the organization, and they did something around it. So simple things like even telesales listening makes a huge difference into their organization. So I think just trying to always constantly finding value for their customers day in and day out stuck to me quite well. It also feels like a really good transferable pieces of information and advice which our insurance ecosystem in the Middle East can take into consideration. So it was quite enjoyable. Listen in.
Perfect. Welcome to FS Brew, Nicolo. This is a question that we ask all our guests to start it off. How did you get into the exciting space of insurance? And can you please tell us a little bit about LifePal and your role in it?
Yes. So, well, first of all, we started LifePal a little bit more than 3 years ago. It started with me and Giacomo, my co-founder. We were both working for Lazada before, the number one e-commerce in Southeast Asia, and we were not really close to the world of insurance. To be very honest and transparent, we never actually touched on insurance until we heard about the market size and opportunity in Southeast Asia, specifically in Indonesia. And we also started to look at how insurance was sold or distributed in these countries, and we found a big lack of digital distribution. So that's what we thought could be a great opportunity for us, because we coming from a very successful experience in distributing online with Lazada. We thought that we could use the same knowledge experience, also apply it to the insurance world. And so that's how we came about and founded LifePal, basically.
Perfect. So if I get it correctly, LifePal is an aggregator of insurance products in Indonesia.
Yeah, so that was essentially what Jack and I knew best. The business model was very straightforward for us because it was the same exact business model of Lazada, where you simply partner with sellers that want to sell online. In the case of LifePal, would be the insurance brands, and you just provide them a platform where they can list their products, and you get a commission from selling.
Perfect.
Right, right. So you mentioned that you are an senior employee of Lazada. So what are the transferable learnings that you got from that organization and you brought that into LifePal?
Yeah, so like the very specific experience that we had in Lazada was not just to build an e-commerce player in Southeast Asian countries, but it was also one of the very first when we started in 2012. So the understanding of e-commerce was very little back in 2012. So there was a lot of work done in terms of educating the market on how to buy online, whether it was a phone or a piece of like fashion or anything else, really. But we never really got to essentially distributing digital products. Then in a couple of years, we also expanded with Lazada into the distribution of digital products such as Pulsa or other type of digital products. And so that's essentially what the baggage that we carried over from that experience, and used it to launch this very first aggregator of insurance products in Indonesia. Basically, we knew what could help to build the trust that is very important in any industry to go online and to be successful. You really need to be able to provide this very secure, very transparent system and platform where customers can feel very safe in buying, which is probably the biggest obstacle in distributing online in Southeast Asia, specifically in Indonesia. I would say people still have very little trust in buying online because there are a lot of scammers, there are a lot of things that don't go as they should.
Yeah.
Maybe same like it used to be 20 years ago or 10 years ago, 15 years ago in Italy, where I come from, where I still remember I used to got rip off a lot of times buying on eBay and stuff like that.
Right.
So in these countries, people are still have that fear, and so we know what to do in order to remove that.
Right. Yeah, and I think you kind of touched upon the market, and it's a growing middle class, rapid adoption of digital services now. Indonesia is one of the fastest growing markets, right? And according to something we read in Munich Re economic research, it's supposed to be a $58 billion market by 2025. So that's huge.
Yes.
But I presume, I mean, you can see that in the Middle East as well. A lot of business has still not gone online. There's traditional brokers and agents, and very much so in my home country, in India as well. So they probably have been slow to innovate to meet the needs of the new customer. So what do you see? Do you see their role continuing in Indonesia? Do you see that role changing from your vantage point? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so again, I think it comes down all the time to the trust factor. So if you trust more the agent that might live in your same neighborhood or might contact you via Instagram or some other channels, if you trust more that person and face-to-face interaction, then it's very hard to bring you online. But what we have seen in Indonesia, and it's very different also, I believe, from Middle East countries or even some European countries, In Indonesia, the online penetration, mobile commerce penetration especially, has grown like to levels that it's harder to find, to see also in Middle East or European countries. So there is a lot of trust building up. And again, maybe I like to think that is also thanks to the work that we've done with Lazada, and then also Tokopedia, Shopee, and other very big e-commerce players. So this trust has been growing more and more, but not yet in the insurance industry. And that's what we are doing right now. We believe that once this trust is strong, then people will have no issues buying insurance online. We'll actually prefer to buy online because they don't have to go through paperwork. They don't have to go through a lot of stuff that traditional agents have to do.
Got it.
Right. So, when you have come up with a business model like LifePal, what makes Indonesia, and you spoke so much in detail about Indonesia, but can you tell us what makes Indonesia really the right choice for a company like LifePal? And an extension to that, you have expansion plans, to take LifePal to the rest of Asia, because the metrics might be similar, the penetration and internet penetration might be similar. If you can talk through that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so you mentioned before this the market size and also the projections of this market in the next years. So that definitely is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason why we are here and we are focused here. The second reason is that the competition is very tough. So as we are. Same like we are here, there are also a couple of other players that have received a lot of money from venture capital funds. And so the competition is very, very tough. So we really don't have the energy to also focus on other markets that have other different regulations that might have also different dynamics that are difficult to grasp and to without paying too much attention. The Indonesian market is growing very fast, and what is even more exciting is that you have certain sectors in the market that are specifically very good for online distribution. For example, car insurance. So car insurance is a type of insurance that is very easy to sell online, much easier to sell than selling health or life insurance. And it's probably probably the category with the highest chance to grow in the next years, because the car market in general in Indonesia is exploding. It's really, really big. Of course, pushed by, like you said before, this middle class that continues to grow and can buy their first car, or even their second car. So the market is really, really pushed by the market of car insurance is pushed by the car market itself. And again, it's the perfect category to grow an online business and distribution.
Yeah, perfect. Now a little bit of a personal and leadership kind of question. I know we are speaking after your work day, and so at the top of such a company, what are the time management and productivity tools that you use? It'll be good to know from others, startup founders' point of view, and probably learn from.
Yeah, I mean, what is very important for me and my other three co-founders, Giacomo, Benny, and Reza, is always to be surrounded by people that you can rely on as much as possible. Then your productivity can increase a lot because you simply focus on very few items that are very high impact. So that's kind of the approach that we try to have in LifePal, to not have too many items on your list. It's very hard to get through the day with 50 items to-do list. So we try to keep it as tight as possible, and also we try to monitor it very, very carefully on a weekly basis or even daily basis. We have beginning of day and end of day meetings to essentially recap what is the progress that we make on each of these tasks, so that we are really, really sure that on the high impact items we always progress every single day. Because in a startup especially, one day is counts a lot more than in a big corporate. You lose one day and you lose a lot of opportunities, let alone 1 week or 1 month.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the speed that differentiates the startups from the big corporates. And so you can't sacrifice speed, and focus is necessary so that you work on the top items that are important. Perfect.
Correct.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Nicolo, we happen to check your social media handle, your Instagram handle, LifePal's Instagram handle, and you guys have whooping 536,000 followers, which is amazing. I'm a marketer, and to get that sort of followership for insurance, which is really not a topic anyone wants to really engage with, is phenomenal. So talk us through a little bit of what is the social media strategy that you guys follow? How are you able to engage this level of followership with a topic like ours, which is insurance?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when we launched LifePal, we knew very well that CAC, so customer acquisition cost, would have always been a pain point for our business, because selling insurance is not as easy as selling phone cases like we used to do in Lazada. So we wanted to have a strategy where we could guarantee that we could bring as much traffic as possible to our website for free. And so we started from the very beginning to focus and build a content team that could then create content for our website and also for our social media. Right. And our number one priority was always to rank number one on any keyword related to insurance, because we knew that those keywords had a much higher chance to convert into customers. So a very high conversion traffic. But then we kind of already reached the cap of this traffic, because it's not that much, to be very honest. So then we started to expand our strategy on categories that add some sort of correlation to insurance. So we started to talk about savings, we started to talk about financial planning, we started to talk about all these topics that had a much broader audience. So that that's when we really started to reach numbers of traffic that you just mentioned. But we try to never go too much apart from, far away from the topic of insurance, because even if you have 500,000 followers, but they don't care at all about insurance, they just care about football, then it doesn't really happen.
True.
Yeah, makes sense. You mentioned CAC right now. Obviously, we all love metrics here at FS Brew. So, if it's okay, can we ask broadly how your business model works? How do you make money?
Yeah. So Well, in Indonesia, we have two licenses. We have the license of aggregator, and we have a marketplace aggregator, and we have the license of broker. Okay. So with the license of broker, then we are entitled to get commission from our insurance partners on any sale that we make. So essentially, we drive traffic to our website. Then the traffic, a percentage of this traffic registers as lead to buy insurance, and then our telesales team would call a big chunk of these leads to help them to convert into customers and by buying insurance. And then we would get a commission from the insurance partner for each one of these sales.
Got it. So back end is good old fashioned broking house model. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, very similar to this region as well. Great. So going on to our next question. In August 2021, LifePal raised about $9 million, which is great. Kudos, congratulations on that. You also have about 4 million monthly visitors to your website, which is huge numbers. Now, we're guessing that that's being deployed to get, as you said, more conversions, more online visitors, so you can reduce your CAC acquisition costs. Where do you see the money being deployed broadly? If you can, tell us about it.
Yeah, so we invest a lot of money into our technology. We have a very big team of engineers and product managers between India and Indonesia. Okay. And we continue to build new products. Some of these products, we call them growth products, because we are always looking for more audience. We are always looking for more traffic. And so we always try to come up with very simple products. For example, we launched a product that allow people to search for free for garage whenever they get into an accident. Or we launch a product that can calculate by answering a few simple questions, the financial position of any person. Or we have another product that allow people to ask questions and get answers from experts about personal finance or insurance. So basically, we are investing a lot of our money into building these products and growing them so that they can continue to get more and more users to us, and also to make our brand very famous and very trustworthy.
Great. I was actually going to follow up with a question on those huge numbers that Vidya just mentioned. And I think what you have just explained is those innovative ideas, sort of sub-products, if you will, yes, that drive traffic to your main site. So that's kind of answered. So I'll just go on to the next one. Just taking a broader view about the startup funding environment now. Obviously, we're getting into a high interest rate, tighter environment for startups. Any specific thoughts about the funding environment for startups and insurtechs? What would your advice to a founder be who's looking for investors? It'd be great to know.
I would say that like I mentioned before, we launched LifePal in 2018. Which was right before COVID. So we went through very different phases. When we launched, I would say we were extremely lucky because we were probably at the time where there was really a lot of money from venture capitals, and it was relatively easy to raise money at very good evaluations. Not always necessarily justified. But then with COVID, obviously, VCs have started to be a little bit more cautious. And what helped us in that period to convince then, like you mentioned, some investors to invest in us the $9 million was actually that our unit economics were pretty strong. So given that our unit economics were solid, then we could sell to our investors this plan that we could scale our distribution without burning too much cash. And this turns out also right now to be a very good pitch for any investor, because again, like you said before, right now investors are tightening even more in some cases, and they're becoming more and more cautious with unit economics and cash burn, and et cetera. So for us, it's a very good place to be right now, because we have a solid business behind.
Perfect. That's great.
Brilliant. Nicolo, from what you say, you constantly stress upon how you want to be trustworthy when it comes to LifePal. You want the people to really find a lot of value from value that they can draw from LifePal. Now, are there any specific sort of customer research that you do, or any sort of customer listening methods that you employ at LifePal to make sure that you're always on top of what the people of Indonesia want? And how does that shape your organization?
Yes. So that's a very interesting question. Actually, one of the things that we really like about our business model is that, like I mentioned before, we have this, we rely heavily also on our telesales. Yeah. And the very good thing about relying so much on telesales is that you have a lot of talk time that you can analyze. And just today, I was coming off another call with my product managers and engineers, because they are about to launch this speech-to-text tool that can analyze basically all the conversations that our telesales are having with our leads or customers, and then help with some engine to essentially categorize the conversations and get more insights from those. And we now want to apply the same speech-to-text technology also. It wouldn't be speech, but chat-to-text also to our corporate WhatsApp conversations, because our telesales don't necessarily need to talk on the phone with our customers, but they can also chat on WhatsApp using our business account. So we can get all this information, whether it's from WhatsApp or whether it's from call, and analyze it and get a lot of insights and continue to improve our product and our offer.
Got it. That's great. Just because we're starting to talk about these metrics, I want to see again, go into your kind of daily routine. And are there sort of metrics that you track on a daily, weekly, or even monthly basis? And what are the top 3 metrics that you kind of look at?
Yes, so we definitely look at revenues, CAC, and payback period. These, I would say, are the 3 key metrics that we always look at. Of course, revenues, because we always need to grow. That's startup mantra. Yeah. And CAC and payback period are very important for the unit economics again. So, for example, we had months where we were growing very fast, but then our CAC was going a little bit too high, or we were discounting too much, so our payback period was increasing too much. So those are kind of the metrics that help us to keep balance. You should never just look at one metric, revenues, for example. Otherwise, you might then end up with very bad unit economics on the other end.
Right. And payback period is so important for a business like this. So you have to retain customers over a long period and get revenues.
Exactly. And the insurance is one of the very few industries, I would say, where you are allowed even to have a payback period that is not necessarily lower than 1, meaning that with renewals you can always get more and more money the next year. So you can eventually you can eventually get back the money from acquisition with the money that you get from the renewal.
Yeah, correct. There's a lifetime value to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This has been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for dedicating late hours for us to have a chat with us. Before we end, is there any sort of specific message you'd like to send anyone from the insurance industry, in the APAC region, globally, or perhaps someone from the Middle East? It could be a personal one, it could be a business one.
I would say that the insurance market in Southeast Asia is extremely exciting. It's a market that is really booming, especially in Indonesia, but also in countries like Malaysia and Thailand. So there is really a lot of space for innovation, and everyone who has great ideas should come here and explore a bit more these markets, because it's really a great opportunity.
Perfect. You might find some competition coming in, Nicolo.
Competition is always good.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you very much for being here at FS Brew. We really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.